Elon Musk has Twitter in a bind as he faces potential penalties for backing out of his Twitter deal. However, it seems logical for him to pay the penalty rather than continue with the deal. Musk had offered $44 billion for Twitter, but the current market cap of Twitter is only $29.6 billion, indicating an overpayment of 50% based on the original negotiated price. Twitter is widely considered one of the most overvalued properties, with a price-to-earnings ratio of 160, while a normal ratio for publicly traded stocks is around 22 to 25. This means that Twitter is likely overvalued by a factor of 8, making Musk's initial offer of $44 billion quite extravagant. Despite this, it was a low-risk proposition for Musk, as pulling out of the deal would cause Twitter to collapse. Or if he continued, he could negotiate a better price. According to an exclusive report from the Washington Post, Musk's deal to acquire Twitter is now in serious jeopardy. Musk's team has determined that Twitter's reported figures on spam accounts cannot be verified, leading to a halt in discussions around funding for the $44 billion deal. Investors' interest has waned as Musk's team raised doubts about the reliability of recent data from Twitter, particularly concerning the sale of data to corporate customers. These doubts indicate that they lack sufficient information to evaluate Twitter's future prospects as a business, with Musk's team unable to verify Twitter's figures on spam accounts. It is anticipated that significant action will be taken soon, although the exact nature of this action remains undisclosed. The concerns about spam accounts are not the sole reason why Musk might attempt to back out of the deal. According to the Post, Twitter's share price has significantly dropped since Musk's takeover bid in April, giving the impression that he may be overpaying for the company. It is worth noting that Musk already manages two other major companies, Tesla and SpaceX, along with some startups. The terms of the deal make it challenging for Musk to walk away easily, as he has agreed to complete the acquisition unless a significant event occurs that affects Twitter's business. However, legal experts doubt that the issue of bots would qualify as such an event. If the deal were to fall apart, Twitter would be in a weaker position than when Musk initially bought a stake in the company, and experts anticipate that Twitter would fight to ensure the deal goes through. Twitter itself has expressed its intention to complete the deal, even if Musk manages to convince a judge to allow him to walk away. He could still be liable for billions of dollars in breakup fees. Twitter spokesperson Brian Polyakov declined to comment and referred to a statement the company made in June, where Twitter stated its commitment to pushing through the deal. Musk has not responded to requests for comment. At present, it appears to be somewhat of a negotiation tactic by Musk, as he tries to persuade Twitter to lower its price. The current price does not accurately reflect the true value of Twitter. The issue of bots on Twitter has long been a topic of public discussion, and Musk has frequently expressed his frustration with spam and bot accounts on the platform. In April, he stated his aim to defeat spam bots or die trying through his Twitter bid. Independent researchers have often suggested that the number of bots and spam accounts on Twitter could be much higher than what Twitter reports. However, due to the rapidly changing tactics used to create and conceal fake accounts, even experts find it challenging to make definitive statements about who is correct. Instead of banning all bots, Twitter looks for indicators that indicate fake or coordinated spam activity. Musk's takeover bid has thrown Twitter into chaos, causing divisions among employees and unease among executives. It's worth noting that according to the Wall Street Journal, Twitter has recently announced layoffs, affecting 1/3 of their recruiting team. On Thursday, the company laid off 30 members of their talent acquisition team as part of a restructuring effort aimed at cutting costs. The decision to reduce the talent acquisition team is a response to the revised business needs of the company. The layoffs are expected to impact fewer than 100 individuals and are limited to the talent acquisition team. In response to the hiring pause, Twitter is reprioritizing its talent acquisition team, including recruiters, to ensure efficient and responsible operations, as stated by a spokesperson. Twitter officials have reiterated their defense of the accuracy of their spam calculations on the platform, asserting that spam accounts make up less than 5% of the company's daily monetizable users. Musk, however, believes that the figure is closer to 20%. One affected employee mentioned that those who were laid off were informed through 30-minute meetings abruptly scheduled on Thursday. While the layoffs were sudden, They were not entirely surprising given Twitter's earlier announcement regarding a hiring freeze. This raises questions about the necessity of having recruiters in the first place. Overall, Twitter has been experiencing a state of turmoil since Musk's bid, which exposed the perception that Twitter is not a successful company. The majority of active users on Twitter are verified accounts, blue checks, representing only a small portion of the platform's user base. It remains unclear how Twitter generates significant revenue, considering its earnings are disproportionately low compared to its stock price and market cap. With such discrepancies, the company appears to be significantly overvalued. As for breaking news, it seems that Joe Biden has signed the Shinzo Abe assassination news. After being away for about 8 hours, Biden, needing rest, had gone to bed at around 4:30 a.m. Upon waking up, he discovered that the former Prime Minister of Japan had been assassinated. Biden released a statement expressing shock, outrage, and deep sadness over the tragic event. He emphasized his close working relationship with Prime Minister Abe and praised his commitment to the alliance between their nations and the friendship between their people. Biden acknowledged Abe as the longest-serving Japanese Prime Minister and lauded his vision of a free and open Indo-Pacific, which he believes will endure. It is evident that Shinzo Abe deeply cared about the Japanese people and dedicated his life to serving them. Even in the moment of the attack, he was engaged in the work of democracy. However, a statement made about his assassination has raised eyebrows. The statement reads, "Well, there are many details we do not yet know. We know that violence attacks are never acceptable, and that gun violence always leaves a deep scar on the communities that are affected by it. The United States stands with Japan in this moment of grief. I send my deepest condolences to his family." The characterization of this incident as gun violence seems to be misguided. In Japan, guns are essentially illegal, making the suggestion that this was an act of gun violence rather puzzling. The weapon used in the crime was a homemade contraption resembling a sawed-off shotgun, constructed from a couple of barrels taped or glued to a wooden board. It is clear that the White House is trying to fit this incident into a pre-existing narrative, even if the facts do not align perfectly. The categorization of this tragic event as gun violence in Japan, where such incidents are extremely rare, appears to be a mismatch with the reality on the ground. According to CNN in 2018, Japan, a country with a population of 125 million people, reported only 9 deaths from firearms. It's important to note that handguns are outlawed in Japan, and the only firearms permitted for sale are shotguns and air rifles. Acquiring these firearms involves a rigorous process, including qualifying for a firearm license. The process includes a full day class, a written test, a shooting range test with a high level of accuracy, a mental health evaluation, a drug test, and an extensive background check. Additionally, gun owners must register their weapons with the police and store them and the ammunition in separate locked compartments. The guns are inspected annually, and gun owners must renew their license every 3 years by retaking a class and exam. In 2017, there were only 377,000 guns held by civilians in Japan. The last known public shooting of a politician in Japan occurred in 2007 when a mayor was shot by a member of the Yakuza. Despite these strict gun control measures and the rarity of gun-related incidents, Joe Biden's characterization of this event as gun violence seems misplaced. It becomes increasingly difficult to determine the extent of Joe Biden's lack of understanding on this topic. It is worth noting that the claim that every single like creates an additional leftist tier is not supported by scientific evidence.